This girl, Zhang Jian, is being attacked by a sniper, but she refuses to give up. Instead, she seizes a broken mirror, attaches it to a broom, and strategically positions it towards the broken window from a safe spot. As she adjusts the mirror, the sniper takes shots, but one bullet misses the mirror, hitting the wall above. Jian seizes this chance to pinpoint the sniper's blind spot. Climbing atop a refrigerator, she readies herself for a risky jump. The sniper is unable to understand what the girl is trying to do. Jian leaps and narrowly avoids a bullet, landing in front of the sofa. Flipping it over, she discovers a rifle underneath and grabs it to defend herself. Her initial clumsy shot pushes her back, but she somehow makes the bullet hit the van where the sniper is. In a flashback, it was revealed how Jin Man, her uncle, reunited with his family after an 8-year disappearance. Shortly after his return, his mother passed away, and he insisted on conducting an autopsy to uncover the actual cause of her death. Jian's father, convinced that their mother had died from cancer, grew angry, accusing Jin Man of suddenly caring for their mother after 8 years. Amidst the heated conversation, Jian's mother urged Jin Man to take Jian home, as she was disturbing the guests. Jin Man followed her suggestion, bringing Jian home. Amid their conversation, Jin Man received a call. After taking the call, he instructed Jian to lock the door and not allow anyone into the house until his return. He informed Jian that his friend would come, and if he could solve a riddle she posed, only then should she open the door for him. Providing the riddle details, Jin Man departed, and shortly after, a man attempted to open the door. Despite Jian's inquiries, he remained silent. Eventually, he managed to unlock the door, and just as he posed a threat to Jian, someone grabbed him from behind. That person turned out to be Jinman's friend, Honda. Being mute, Honda communicated with Jian through messages and provided her with the riddle's answer. Before Honda could take Jian to safety, another assailant approached the apartment. To address the threat, Honda confined Jian in a room. However, driven by curiosity, Jian decided to unlock the door and was shocked by the unfolding events. She witnessed the assailant, Sangzhou, cutting off Honda's hand. After disposing of Honda, the attackers combed through the room but failed to locate Jian. Sangzhou, the one who killed Honda, turned out to be the sniper from the first scene of the drama, attempting to assassinate Jian. Observing an open window, Sangzhou peered outside and discovered Jian hanging from a pipe. Instead of surrendering to the attacker, Jian chose to release her grip. Fortunately, she landed on a sofa below. She tried to escape, but she was hit by a van. As a crowd gathered around her, it became challenging for the attackers to pursue her further. Jian found herself in the hospital, where she overheard 2 police officers discussing her parents' death. Shockingly, it was revealed that her parents had been killed at the funeral home, while she and Jin Man had left the premises. During a lonely night in the hospital ward, Jian witnessed a disturbing scene: a hyena gripping a severed human hand in its teeth. The traumatic incident of Sangzhou cutting off Honda's hand seemed to have a profound impact on her mind. As she woke up from this disturbing dream, she scanned the surroundings but found nothing amiss. Meanwhile, the assassin from the previous attack lurked outside the ward, ready to harm Jian once again. Upon entering the ward and approaching Jian's bed, the assailant discovered only a pile of stacked pillows. Jian, suspecting someone's presence, had escaped, eluding potential danger once more. With no haven, Jian sought refuge in a morgue freezer room. She opened one of the compartments and lay down beside the body of a woman, only to discover it was her deceased mother. Despite her mother being lifeless, Jian found solace in her presence. The assassin entered the room, systematically opening the freezers one by one. Unexpectedly, one of his accomplices emerged from behind the door, startling him. Seizing the opportunity, Jin Man appeared behind the man, opening fire. As Jian lay in the freezer, she could hear the echoing gunshots. After a while, Jin Man opened the freezer door, having successfully defeated the mercenary and rescued Jian. After Jian's parents passed away, Jin Man took custody of her. He packed her bags and took her to his countryside home. Unlike before, Jian had to carry her own bags and take full responsibility for herself. When she stumbled over the gate space and fell to the ground, Jin Man didn't offer the comforting gesture of a parent. He made it clear that he wasn't her parent and could never replace them. He made it clear that he wouldn't fulfill the role her parents played in her life. With those words, he entered the house, leaving Jian alone on the ground. At night, after tucking Jian into bed, Jin Man began physically punishing himself, holding himself responsible for the tragedy that befell Jian's family. His re-entry into the family resulted in 3 casualties, including his mother, brother, and sister-in-law. Due to the tragic events involving her parents and Honda's deaths, Jian developed a language disorder, making it challenging for her to read, write, and speak. This condition was compounded by partial memory loss, resulting from the shock of her parents' demise and post-traumatic stress. After school, while other parents promptly picked up their children, Jian-man was often late. When he finally arrived, Jian would be soaked in rain, yet she refused to enter the van. Time passed swiftly, but communication between them became strained, as if 2 strangers were sharing the same house. One day, unable to vocalize her request, Jian left a note on the fridge, asking Jian-man to buy her a protractor. The following day, she discovered money attached to the magnet next to the note. From then on, their communication shifted to written notes, and Jian-man began fulfilling Jian's needs. On a different occasion, some boys trapped Jian in the school's basement. She remained silent until she witnessed a hyena holding a severed hand in its mouth, reminiscent of her nightmares. Panicking, she tried to unlock the door, but her efforts proved futile. Desperate to escape the basement, Jian finally found her voice, screaming Jinman's name for help. Shortly after, Jian-man broke the lock on the door with a hammer, rescuing Jian. Initially, she embraced him, but then she began hitting him, questioning why he didn't come to her aid sooner. This incident marked the return of Jian's voice and confidence, as she started spending more time with Jian-man. Back in the present day, Jian found herself in a tight spot after she beat up a pervert. When she dialed her uncle Jian-man for help, an officer answered, breaking the news of Jinman's unexpected death. Upon hearing this, she suddenly sinks into sadness. En route to the police station, Jian conversed with the driver, who happened to be an old friend of Jian-man. Upon hearing about Jinman's demise, the friend handed Jian his card, offering assistance in organizing the funeral if needed. Afterward, she was brought to view Jinman's body and asked for identification. While examining, Jian raised concerns about the peculiar angle of the cut on Jinman's neck. The attendant explained the knife angle and the cut specifics indicate Jinman's suicide. CCTV footage showed no one entering Jinman's house. As the body was returned to the morgue freezer, Jian noticed a tattoo on Jinman's forearm. Following a tiring day, Jian reached Jinman's place to secure his portrait for the funeral. There, she encountered an old friend, Bei Zhongmin. Seeking assistance, she enlisted his help to extract Jinman's image from the family portrait and enhance it for the funeral. As a computer engineer, Zhongmin willingly aided Jian, also disclosing his tight bonds with Jian-man, having developed a website for him to sell agricultural hoses. The funeral ceremony seemed to drag on for Jian, with some men gossiping about Jinman's life. Accusations of gang involvement and suspicions of being an anti-North spy circulated among the attendees. Adding to the discomfort, people discussed Jian's peculiar quietness regarding her uncle's death. Amid it all, Zhongmin stood by her side, offering much-needed support during this challenging time. Back at home, a flood of memories hit Jian, as she recalled Jian-man sitting on the sofa chatting with her. Overwhelmed, she burst into tears, questioning what could have driven him to take his own life. While she was mourning her uncle's sudden demise, Zhongmin entered the scene. Upon her request, he stayed with her as she took a short nap on his shoulder. When she woke up, he handed her an old cell phone he had found in Jinman's bathroom while cleaning it for Jian. Puzzled, Jian wondered why her uncle would need that phone, given that he had bought a smartphone with her. Suddenly, a message popped up, stating that someone had deposited 70 million won and was prepared to collect the purchased item. This was accompanied by a bank notification, disclosing a staggering 18 billion won in Jinman's account. Perplexed, Jian shared the message with Zhongmin, questioning whether selling hoses could bring in such colossal earnings. Intrigued by the mysterious payment, the duo explored the hose-selling website Zhongmin had created for Jian-man. It became clear that making such a fortune from selling hoses was impossible. Zhongmin delved into the website's programming and concluded that Jinman's agricultural goods selling platform might be a front for another site. Utilizing his computer skills, he unraveled that the website was a cover for an illicit weapons marketplace on the dark web. Seeing the website's name, Jian recalled the exact words tattooed on Jinman's arm. While exploring the dark web, they received a text from the person who had previously made the payment. Jian responded that the shop was closed, and she would refund the money, but she was shocked by the chilling response. The person eerily stated that her message meant Jian-man had died, and now she would face the same fate. In a panic, Zhongmin swiftly shut down the computer, reassuring Jian that it was likely an empty threat. Amidst Jian's distressing thoughts, the doorbell suddenly rang. Through the intercom, the woman, So Minhai, introduced herself as Jinmin's Chinese tutor. She expressed a desire to meet Jian, having heard much about her from Jinman. Jian, concealing Jinmin's death, hesitated to open the door. This cautious move proved wise. Unbeknownst to Jian, a gun was concealed in Minhai's handbag. The recent threat from an unknown number had made Jian suspicious of everyone. When Jian refrained from opening the door, Minhai departed, leaving with a mysterious expression on her face. After this, Zhongmin hacked into the operator's account of MirthHelp and learned that the website was operated by authorized members only. Members got the codes according to their grades, and only authorized members with the operator's codes could purchase items on this site. There were 4 codes. People who killed people were code red. They were contract killers, and they could buy and sell guns, bombs, weapons, and poisons used to kill a person. Spies were code purple. It was a code for people who would buy and sell information, a variety of listening devices, cameras, or simple weapons or goods that they could use to kill themselves when their cover was blown. Code yellow was for the cleanup crew, and the products available for them were drugs, detergents, and cleaning tools needed for body disposal and cleanup. Unlike other codes, the green code didn't have a category. Those who had received codes from MirthHelp website may never attack code green. If someone disobeys this and attacked code green, everyone with a code must risk their lives to protect code green. In code green, there were only 2 members, the operators of MirthHelp, Jinman and Jian. Suddenly, the entire house shakes, resembling an earthquake. Rushing to the window, Jian and Zhongmin are astonished to discover the front of the house demolished. A drone then appears, opening fire on the duo. However, Jinman had foreseen this threat and installed bulletproof windows, rendering the drone unable to penetrate. Their relief is short-lived as the drone adapts, planting explosives on the window and shattering it. With the living room now exposed, Jian and Zhongmin hurriedly retreat, only for the persistent drone to follow them inside. As the drone targets Zhongmin, Jian intervenes in time, using her slingshot to take it down. It turns out that Jinman had even fortified the cupboards, making them bulletproof. Jian and Zhongmin grab one of the doors as a shield, and Jian continues using her slingshot to fend off more drones. However, this time, her attacks prove ineffective. The drone, after firing a barrage of bullets, plants bombs on the cupboard's door. The explosion hurls Jian and Zhongmin into the air and onto the floor, leaving them exposed to the lethal drone. Suddenly, Minhai, the woman who introduced herself as Jinmin's Chinese teacher, arrives and fires a gun, unleashing a sonic blast that incapacitates all the drones. Jian and Jianmen's lives are saved. As Zhongmin attempts to leave, Minhai attacks him. She brings her wrists close to his to scan something. Realizing the result doesn't align with expectations, she sedates Zhongmin and renders him unconscious. As Jian attempts to attack her, Minhai knocks her down and scans something from Jian's wrist, revealing that Jian is code green. Trying to communicate, Minhai reassures Jian that she is not there to fight but to protect her. Their conversation is abruptly stopped as they come under sniper fire. To shield Jian from the incoming bullets, Minhai kicks her away from the window. The bullets are coming from the sniper who was shooting at Jian in the first scene of the drama. Amid the danger, Minhai tries to convey to Jian that she is a friend. To prove her connection with Jinman, she recounts the 3 instances when Jian shouted Jinman's name at the sky. She further reveals her codes as red and purple, emphasizing that she is committed to ensuring Jian's safety. While they talk, more men arrive at the bridge outside Jinman's house. Despite having codes from MirthHelp, they have decided to betray their affiliations and kill Jian for a substantial bonus offered by a mysterious figure. Leading the crew is Mr. Kim. Meanwhile, Sanjo maintains his full concentration inside the house, meticulously observing Jian's every move. A drone infiltrates the house, but Minhai counters it by using a gas bomb to impair its sight. She confronts the drone head-on and takes it down with gunfire. Sanjo retaliates by shooting at Minhai, injuring her arm. While Minhai tends to her wound, Jian attempts to reach for a pistol, but realizes she can't expose herself to the sniper. Initially panicked, Jian gathers herself and recalls Jinman's advice about finding a blind spot to evade gunfire. Determined to identify this blind spot, Jian ties a broken glass to a broom, carefully maneuvering it around the window until she discovers the blind spot at the top. Without hesitation, she climbs onto the fridge and takes a leap, narrowly avoiding the sniper's bullet. Upon flipping the sofa to retrieve the pistol, she is surprised to find a hidden rifle underneath it. As Jian takes out the rifle, Minhai provides instructions on its use. Loading the bullet, Jian takes a shot at the sniper. However, being her first time, she is thrown to the ground by the impact, causing the bullet to miss the target, Sanjo. Meanwhile, the other crew members arrive outside Jinmin's house, prepared to launch an attack. They start shooting at Minhai from the opposite side of the house, but she retaliates and takes cover behind the sofa. When one man attempts to attack Jongmin, Minhai swiftly ends his life with a single gunshot to the head. Mr. Kim's team soon realizes that Minhai is also present to protect Jian. Amid the intense exchange of gunfire, Minhai instructs Jian and Jongmin to head to the storage shed, which is accessed through a door on the floor of Jinmin's workroom. Using the bulletproof wardrobe door as a shield, the duo cautiously advances toward the storage room. Sanjo once again takes aim at them, but Minhai utilizes the rifle to target his van, successfully taking down his driver. She continues covering Jian and Jongmin from the approaching members of Mr. Kim's crew, who have also entered the warehouse. Inside the warehouse, Jian discovers a PIN code. Initially struggling to unlock it, she recalls Jinmin's instruction to remember her student ID number. Jian dials the number, and soon the camera scans her face, granting access to the storage room, revealing it to be the shopping mall of Mirthhelp. While Jian explores the area, we observe Kim's crew closing in on Minhai. The darkness in the warehouse provides cover, making it challenging for them to locate Minhai. Utilizing her knowledge of the area, Minhai systematically takes down the men one by one. As the crew begins losing members, Mr. Kim shoots at the roof, allowing sunlight to illuminate the space and reveal Minhai. Despite this disadvantage, Minhai skillfully eliminates all of them. Left alone, Mr. Kim faces Minhai in hand-to-hand combat. In the final moments, Minhai prevails, using a poison knife to slit Mr. Kim's throat, ensuring his demise. On the other hand, Jian and Jongmin find themselves in the shopping mall of Mirthhelp, where they encounter a masked boy named Brother holding them at gunpoint. After introducing himself, Brother throws handcuffs at Jian, instructing her to cuff Jongmin. Instead of complying, Jian takes the initiative and attacks Brother, rendering him unconscious by suffocation. Once Jongmin is back on his feet, the two explore the area and discover CCTV camera footage from locations frequently visited by Jian, such as her school, house, and workplace. Suspicious that Brother is spying on her, Jian holds him at gunpoint, demanding answers. Brother insists that he works for Jinman. Meanwhile, Jongmin explores further and illuminates the warehouse with lights. Brother, sensitive to light, pleads with Jian to turn it off, but she remains skeptical until he shares his side of the story. As Brother begins to explain, Jongmin intervenes by placing a handkerchief in his mouth, claiming that Brother is only pretending to be pitiful to evoke Jian's sympathy. Exploring the warehouse, Jongmin is surprised to find a heavy server setup. Meanwhile, Brother manages to free himself from the handcuffs. He lures Jian to the middle of the warehouse, and when she is positioned under a rack, he opens the doors to the room below, trapping her inside. Brother then turns off the lights and dons night vision glasses to locate Jongmin in the dark. Successfully finding him, he incapacitates Jongmin using an electroshock weapon. As Jongmin regains consciousness, he discovers himself bound with his hands tied and his head restrained with a snare pole. Brother communicates with Jian through the CCTV cameras, instructing her to open the second drawer of the table. In it, she finds a Mirthhelp handover guide indicating that she will inherit Mirthhelp after Jinmin's death. According to the guide, Jian is expected to faithfully cooperate with the handover, fulfilling duties such as accounting, management, and personal tasks. After Brother provides more details about her inheritance, Jian consents to take on the responsibility. With Brother promising to obey the new handler of Mirthhelp, Jian instructs him to release her from the basement. Once she is out, Jian seizes Brother's pistol and forces him to free Jongmin. With no alternative, Brother complies. As Jongmin is liberated, his immediate reaction is to deliver a powerful punch to Brother's face. Jian intervenes, expressing her desire to hear what Brother has to say. Using the snare pole, Brother restrains Jianmin's movements. When questioned, he discloses that Jinmin's death was a result of Jianmin's actions. Brother attempts to convince Jian that someone like Jinman would never commit suicide. Jongmin vehemently denies the accusations, pointing out that if he were the killer, he wouldn't be present with her amidst all the chaos and gunfire. To emotionally manipulate her, Jongmin adds that when she was locked in the school's storage room, he was the one who informed her uncle about her whereabouts. Jian finds herself torn, unable to decide whom to believe. Brother reveals the existence of CCTV footage capturing Jianmin's arrival at Jinmin's place on the day he died. Caught in the dilemma of trust, Jian recalls a lesson Jinmin once taught her about taking responsibility for one's actions. On a day when she found a stray cat, Jinmin gave her the choice to either adopt the kitten or give it to pet care. Although Jian expressed her desire to adopt it, Jinmin reminded her that if the cat got sick or died, she must also bear the responsibility for her own sadness. Once again torn between whom to choose, Jian ultimately decides to favor Jongmin over brother. She instructs brother to provide more bullets and medicine to Min Ai. As brother complies and departs from the warehouse, Jongmin embraces Jian, only to inject her with a sedative. As Jian loses consciousness, Jongmin reveals that he was the one who locked her up in the school's basement when they were kids. In the past, when Jian's cat died, Jinmin did not console her. He believed that Jian should take full responsibility for her choices. Today, the responsibility rests solely on Jian for her decision to prioritize Jongmin over brother. Jongmin began recounting to Jian how he became involved with Babylon, the very organization currently seeking to harm her. It turns out that Jongmin aspired to become a black hat hacker and possessed the necessary skills. He shared with a friend that he successfully hacked into a dark website, MirthHelp, discovering their involvement in selling weapons on the black market. Upon returning home, he and his friend encountered a mysterious figure in the alley. Upon reaching their apartment and turning on the lights, they found Babylon head Lee Yonghan inside. It was revealed that Yonghan had learned about Jianmin's hacking of the MirthHelp website. Since the website was recovered promptly, Yonghan instructed Jongmin to hack it again to demonstrate his capabilities. Jongmin complied with the demand and successfully managed to hack the website again. However, as a result, the other Babylon mercenary, the twin, killed Jianmin's friend because he was useless to them. While working for Babylon, Jongmin secured a part-time job at Jinmin's place. He was always equipped with a camera pen to record his surroundings. On one occasion, he successfully hacked into the MirthHelp website, obtaining its ID and password. As he became less valuable to Babylon, the twin was dispatched to his apartment to eliminate him. However, Jongmin convinced them that he had a plan to help them take down Jinmin. Executing his strategy, Jongmin revealed himself to Jinmin, who responded by hanging him with a rope. Unbeknownst to Jinmin, Jongmin had a more intricate plan in motion. He presented a deepfake audio clip of Jian seemingly pleading for help. In this manipulated scenario, it appeared that Jian was under Babylon's capture, compelling Jinmin to comply with their demands for her safety. After cutting Jongmin loose, Jinmin entered the house, only for Jongmin to follow. To his astonishment, Jinmin lay lifeless in the bathtub with his throat slit. Jongmin reveals to Jian the distressing truth that her uncle attempted suicide to save her life. Witnessing the video of her uncle lying lifeless in the bathtub, Jian can't hold back tears. She confesses to Jongmin that she never called Jinmin on that fateful day. Jongmin then shows her the deepfake technology he employed to clone her voice. Suddenly, Jian erupts into manic laughter. She informs Jongmin that Babylon will now target him as well, deeming him useless after completing their tasks. She points out how Babylon recklessly launched drones into the house, without considering Jianmin's presence. As Jian continues to expose the harsh reality, Jongmin, overwhelmed with panic, decides to end her life. However, before he can carry out his plan, Jian kicks him in the leg, causing him to lose balance. She swiftly applies a triangle choke, and then propels him against a table, granting her the opportunity to hide herself in the shopping mall. Now, Jongmin is on the hunt for Jian, who finds herself unable to access the lockers containing weapons. Recalling her uncle's advice to use everything around her in times of crisis, Jian spots cleaning products. She pours some liquid on the floor and grabs a rope. As Jongmin steps on the liquid, he slips, unintentionally placing his foot in the rope's loop. Seizing the opportunity, Jian pulls the rope, causing Jongmin to hang upside down. After securing the rope to the racks, she unleashes a series of hard kicks to Jianmin's face, venting her frustration for all he has done to her. On the other hand, brother delivers a medical kit to Minhai and taps on the wall to identify hollow spots. Simultaneously, he informs Minhai that Jinmin anticipated such an attack. Hence, he remodeled the house for maximum defense. Brother then demolishes the wall with a sledgehammer, revealing 3 guns and a vast supply of bullets strategically placed by Jinmin for times of need. Meanwhile, Babylon dispatches more men with orders to capture Jian alive this time. The new group of mercenaries arrives with a robotic dog equipped with a camera and weapons. The robot swiftly approaches the house. Minhai attempts to fend it off with a shotgun, but the robot proves too agile. Before Minhai can neutralize the robot, she is attacked from a distance by incoming mercenaries. As they converge on her position, Brother seals the metal doors leading to the gallery and living area. The robot attempts to breach the doors, but Minhai manages to knock it to the ground with a gunshot. Utilizing the robot, the mercenaries create a hole in the door. Through this opening, they release gas into the area, but Brother and Minhai are protected by their masks and remain unaffected. As the gas dissipates, Brother opens the metal door. Taking advantage of the gas, Minhai throws a flash bomb at the mercenaries, temporarily blinding them. With her exceptional combat skills, she proceeds to eliminate the mercenaries one by one. Amid the chaos, Jian joins the fight to aid her rescuers. She brings 2 grenades, which they unpin and throw at the mercenaries, causing an explosion. However, one member, Kuma, survives the blast and attacks Jian, throwing her against the wall. He attempts to harm her further, but someone intervenes and stabs him from behind, leading to his demise. The savior is revealed to be Pazin, Jinmen's friend and Jian's martial arts tutor. Upon seeing her teacher, Jian is overwhelmed with emotion and embraces him. However, Pazin urges her to compose herself because they have little time. As Bale is approaching, the flashback takes us 14 years back when Jinman worked as a mercenary alongside Babylon. During a mission, Bale arrived as backup, efficiently eliminating the rebels. However, when some civilians sought help, Bale unexpectedly grabbed a gun from a dead rebel and ruthlessly murdered the civilians, shooting them in the head. Sanwan, one of Jinmen's teammates, became a witness to this gruesome act. Anticipating that Sanwan might report the incident, Sanjo, Bale's best friend, killed him. Jinman later arrived at the scene, and based on the arrangement of the bodies, deduced that it was not the rebels, but his own team members who were responsible for Sanwan's death. His suspicions were confirmed when Bale coldly stated, "There can't be any witnesses." Jinman reported the incident to the authorities, building a case against Bale. However, his senior, Yonghan, urged him not to testify against Bale, emphasizing that it would tarnish the team's reputation. Yonghan promised Jinman that he would keep Bale out of future operations. Nevertheless, circumstances led to a big operation, where Yonghan had to permit Bale's involvement. Assuming there were no civilians in the area, Yonghan believed Bale wouldn't cause any issues. However, Bale ended up killing a bunch of girls who were the victims of human trafficking. While placing explosives in the building, Jinman discovered another survivor, Minhai. He decided to secretly escort her out of the building. Unfortunately, Bale intercepted them, leading to a confrontation between Jinman and Bale. Jinman, determined to protect Minhai, forced her to leave the building alone. A fight unfolded between Jinman and Bale, initially favoring Bale. Just as Bale was about to end Jinman's life, a bullet pierced his eye. It was fired by Minhai, who had returned to rescue Jinman. Inflicting multiple stabs on Bale, they managed to escape the building just before it exploded, reducing Bale to ashes. To cover up the truth, Jinman falsely reported that Bale had sacrificed himself to save him. Following this incident, Jinman resigned from his mercenary job and settled in the countryside. After Honda's death, he adopted Honda's younger brother, aka Brother. Meanwhile, Sanjo was practicing elsewhere when he received an unexpected visitor, Bale, who was surprisingly still alive, but now blind in one eye. Claiming that Jinman attempted to kill him, Bale assembled a team with the intention of targeting Jinman's family and friends. Tragically, Bale was responsible for the death of Jinman's mother. After the funeral, Jinman received a call from someone who told him about Bale's survival. Instructing Honda to look after Jian, Jinman rushed to the funeral home. It was Sanjo and Bale who killed Jinman's brother and sister-in-law. When Jinman rescued Jian, he encountered Bale, but a passing crowd provided the distraction for Jinman to escape. Before Bale could take action, Jinman prioritized Jian's safety over seeking revenge against Bale. In the present day, Pazin and Jian tend to Minhai's wounds in a room. Meanwhile, Zhongmin regains consciousness and frees himself. Unable to use the lift, Zhongmin decides to stay behind and attempts to hack into Mirthelp's server to demonstrate to Babylon that they are dependent on him. Meanwhile, Pazin suggests they must go to the shopping mall. brother informs the team that Jinman has set booby traps inside the house. It turns out that the shopping mall is designed to be operated by a manager at all times. If a manager leaves, the protocol is restarted. No manager means an emergency situation, and all the operations in the shopping mall are shut down. They have 20 hours and 30 minutes for the restart to finish. That's when brother realizes that someone is accessing the server. Before anyone can grasp the situation, the robotic dog springs back to life, emitting a sharp noise that leaves brother unconscious. Adding to the chaos, a car forcefully crashes into the house, carrying the twin brothers and Sangjo. A fierce brawl ensues between the twins and Pazin, but surprisingly, Pazin manages to dominate, despite being outnumbered. Simultaneously, Sangjo explores the room, but is caught off guard by an ambush from Jian. Despite the surprise, he successfully thwarts her attack. While he subdues her and sends her to the ground, brother intervenes, striking Sangjo in the head and diverting his attention. Sangjo and brother engage in a brawl, allowing Jian to make a swift escape. After rendering brother incapacitated, Sangjo concludes the conflict by ending his life with 3 well-aimed bullets to the chest. Jian reaches the warehouse and discovers a gun. Sangjo tracks her down, but Jian catches him off guard, aiming the pistol at him. As they face off, Sangjo confesses to the murder of Jian's parents. Their confrontation is interrupted when Zhongmin emerges from the shopping mall armed with a pistol. Jian's impactful words have clearly swayed him, and now he's determined to eliminate any Babylon mercenary in his path. Fueled by betrayal, he vents his frustration by firing shots into the air. Whatever he does, he is nothing in front of a professional mercenary. Sangjo confronts him and concludes his life by driving an axe into his head. Following Jiangmen's demise, Jian heads towards the shopping mall, with Sangjo trailing behind. Upon Sangjo's arrival, a tense encounter ensues, as Jian attempts to strike him with a forklift, but Sangjo narrowly escapes. She holds him at gunpoint, and instead of outright ending him, Jian opts to ignite the nearby gasoline, enveloping Sangjo in flames. However, the fire is short-lived, extinguished by the sprinkler system, leaving Sangjo scarred but alive. Undeterred, he tries to attack Jian, who responds by shooting him in the forehead, swiftly ending his life. Meanwhile, it's revealed that brother survived the earlier attack, having worn a bulletproof jacket. Pazin takes matters into his own hands, eliminating the twin brothers and rescuing Minhai. Despite Zhongmin impacting the server, brother regains control. Their troubles persist as more code holders approach the house. With brother's assistance, Jian severs Sangjo's head, displaying it as a stark warning to the oncoming mercenaries. Jian takes control, addressing the potential adversaries through the intercom with a proposition. She offers to reward them with the Babylon bounty and future discounts if they opt to depart peacefully. Otherwise, she vows to eliminate them all. Calculating their options, the men choose to accept Jian's offer, convinced that ongoing business provides a more favorable outcome. Amid this, Pazin returns from the living room to the bedroom, only to find Minhai motionless. Simultaneously, Jian surveys the wreckage of her home. She is overwhelmed with emotion, as tears stream down her face. Suddenly, a bus approaches the house, prompting Jian to confront the perceived threat with a gun in hand. However, it turns out to be the cleaning crew arriving to tidy up the aftermath. During the cleaning process, Jian notices a car nearing the house. To her surprise, it's Jinmin's friends who had assisted with Jinmin's funeral. They pull an injured man from the back seat, revealing him to be none other than Jinman himself, alive and well. The drama concludes with Jinman gazing at Jian, a smile gracing his face. Jian, in return, responds with a smile, her expression reflecting a mix of joy and disbelief.